The following is a short clip from our conversation with Elyce, the co-founder of multi-billion-dollar fashion brand Kate Spade. Kate Spade is a multi-billion-dollar fashion brand that revolutionized the affordable luxury market in the early 2000s. After selling Kate Spade, Elyce started yet another highly successful fashion brand called Frances Valentine. In our conversation, Elyce shared the key principles and secrets behind her success in building incredible fashion brands. I hope that these insights are valuable in your understanding and approach to starting and growing fashion brands. And when it comes to, again, developing good products, since it is such an important part of the process, is it all mostly entirely customer based? So understanding what the customer wants and kind of delivering something in the unique value proposition of the brand, or how like if you had to put a ratio of this is how much we pay attention to the customers versus this is how much intuitively we know what the customers want, what would you put your decision making on, or at least the
Hmm.
brand's philosophy at?
That's a good question. So much of it is what I personally want as a customer and what all the different pieces I need for per season. And we want to make sure that we have every piece of those. So, a great pair of pants, a great jean, a jacket for the season, t-shirts and colors and things that really coordinate back to each other. So we make it easy not only for our wholesale partners, but when we're merchandising our store so that it really looks cohesive when you walk in. You're like, oh my God, I love everything in this collection because and it just looks like walking into a candy store and you just want everything. I don't even remember your question. I can just keep talking about our
No,
product.
no. So when it comes to your product development approach, how much is it
Oh,
focused
okay.
on your personal
Yeah.
intuition versus customer feedback?
Yeah. So, we have a whole section that we call essentials, and those are sort of all the things you really need to have in your closet all the time, um, which are the building blocks to me of, any closet or wardrobe. And then all of the other pieces that, and they're all seasonal. It's what makes it fun. So really great spring dresses and caftans and fun summer tops. And we are very print heavy with everything that we do, and we use a lot of bold colors. A lot of them are vintage prints that we've purchased. They might be from the 1930s or 40s or 50s. So there's a story behind all of them, but we'll coordinate a lot of those with solids and textured fabrics. So every group kind of tells its own story, and we have several print groups in each season that we do, or every month. Um, and it's really, a lot of it is what we want to make, because we might have found this really cool vintage piece that I've never seen before in my life, and so we'll make that and put it in a really cool print. That will be a whole new SKU for us. And then we know what our customers do like. So what we sold, last season in spring, if we're designing spring again, we'll be like, okay, that dress sold 10 to 1 over the other one. And so we'll recolor that dress. We might make some changes to it and look at all of our customer comments and what customer service had to say. And we listen to all of our retail stores. We've got 9 retail stores, so we get to hear from them on a regular basis. So it's
Interesting.
a combination, and I can't give you an exact percentage of what it is. But I would say probably 60% of the collection are things that are repeated, because our customers like them so much, and we'll recolor them, or use a different fabrication. And then 40% of it are brand new silhouettes.
Right. Interesting. Wow. That's perfect. And the only reason why I asked the question in percentages is because it's one of these abstract questions that most entrepreneurs will kind of like figure out intuitively as they understand their brands. But for people that are not going through the process, at least they can kind of understand, right? Like the amount of energy and
Right,
the right approach towards developing these products, because people have no idea, right? And into how
right,
developing.
right,
And when they're not experienced, they don't really know what their brand is truly about. They're still trying to figure things out. But at the same time, they're still trying to develop products so that people buy them, and they can get lost in the process, right? And if they get lost in the process, the brand gets lost in the process, and it's difficult to get back from that. Okay, and
and just further on that point, I think it's different for every single brand. Some might do 20% new silhouettes because that might be right for what they're making and selling. So that just happens to be ours. But I think every company's different.
Perfect. So the answer is not this is the right percentage or this is the right
Right.
percentage amount, is you have to develop your own.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. And you find what works for you through your value proposition and through your value proposition through the way that you develop products. Interesting. Okay, and going back to my original questions, because this was all kind of like a result of the question of what were the similarities between the Kate Spade success story and your success today. But what about the differences? What has been different that you think
Uh,
had played a major role in success or enjoyment of the process?
hmm. Well, I'll tell you, the with the last business, I had three partners. There were four of us who started and ran the business, and we sort of everyone divided up what we were really good at and had to take over because we were really growing so quickly. And here, although I started it with Katie and Andy, I find myself running this business alone. We have a great team, but it's different in that I don't have partners to, talk to on a regular basis, which
Right.
I
Or
think,
delegate productively with, who's better at this thing, who likes doing
right,
this.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
And out of all the roles, could you give us a very brief overview of what the roles and founder structure looked like back in Cade versus what it looks like today in terms of things that people were responsible for?
Yeah, yeah. So back then, I mean, at the beginning, we all did everything at Kate Spade, and um, we ended up, a lot of times duplicating efforts and having different ways of doing the same thing. But so we decided that we should probably just, like figure out who was best at doing what. So um, Katie and Andy obviously did design, and Andy did, all the branding for the brand and marketing. Pamela did all of the product development and production, and I did sales and international sales, and then a lot of the we had
Business
to hi
development. Yeah.
we had to hire a lot of people really fast too.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of the hiring back then, and then now, when we started, I was really doing a lot of the business stuff, but Katie and I worked on a lot of things together. And because it was, we had done this before, we've been down this road before. So we had all these ideas of the products we wanted to make when we got started. Um, and then, everything changed and the world turned upside down in 2018. And we added a few new product categories. And that's really, I have loved working on apparel. It's been one of those things that we did when we had a license in Japan for Kate Spade, and I got to work with them very closely on apparel back then. So this is one of the things that I've really enjoyed taking on here that we didn't really do at the old business. We were always focused on accessories there and home products and a lot of lifestyle categories, but we never did an apparel line when we owned the company. So doing it here is kind of like a fresh start and something new and a new product category that has just catapulted the business kind of into a new phase, which is really nice. But we pretty much have the same team we started with at Frances Valentine. We've added a lot more people over the last few years, but there are a few who worked with me at Kate Spade years ago. Our head of product is one of them. Our head of retail is another. And it's wonderful because it feels like family, which is really nice.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. So foundationally, design, communications, production, sales, or business development.
Mhm.
And the only difference that's today is that, of course, less founders, therefore, each founder needs more responsibilities. But you understand that your expertise and your experience was more in business development. But additionally, because of your passion for developing categories and design, you are much more involved in that part of the process now as well.
Right.